So as you guys know, the brand new 2025 Harley Davidson models came out just a couple days ago, last week, Thursday, and I was really excited. I like a lot of the colors. I like what they did with the CVO. I like what they did with the Softail models. There was just a lot of stuff that I really liked what Harley Davidson did. But there was one thing, if you guys didn't watch that video that I put out about the 2025 models, there was one bike that really caught my eye. So before we get into it, last year when I went to Harley Davidson Homecoming in Milwaukee, when we were going through the bike show down by the Harley Davidson Museum, there was a Pan America there that a bike builder did. He did a different take on the Pan America. He didn't do it in a off-road ADV style. He actually took that bike and kind of changed it up and did it in a sports touring way, meaning he put on a set of more sportier wheels and tires. He did like a T-bar setup. He did a nice exhaust. He lightened the bike up. He actually did a lot of other work with the fairing and tank. But if you didn't see that video, guys, I put it out about a couple months ago last year, and the bike is just amazing. If you guys like sport touring, so meaning if you guys like touring but yet love hitting the twisties, man, I'm telling you, that bike is for you. So I really love that bike, and I honestly contemplated, I said, you know what, when I get home, I was thinking to myself, and I was like, you know what, I really want to get a Pan America. I might want to do a build, as I stated in that video. I think I want to do a similar build to that bike because, as you guys know, I do put a lot of miles on my Road Glide 2024, and I do a lot of touring. But then I also love the sport bike aspect. I have a sport bike channel where I feature my 2024 BMW S1000RR on. So I love both aspects of riding. I love all aspects of riding, ADV, dirt bike, whatever has two wheels, I love it. I'm definitely a motorcycle enthusiast. That's one of the big reasons why I named the channel Cycle Fanatics, because I don't only like one particular bike. I love them all, no matter what it is. But when this bike came out, before we go any further, let me show you what I have in the garage now. All right, guys, so these are my two bikes. If you guys are new to this channel, just wanted to show you the bikes again. But this is my 2024 Road Glide. And I have a bunch of stuff that is done to it. But this bike in particular, it has about 12,000 miles. We just did a 8,000 mile trip. Yes, 8,000 mile trip. Just a couple months ago last year, we went all the way here from New Jersey, all the way out to Oregon and California, up and down and around and back home. 3-week-long trip. And that's what this bike is designed for, long distance touring. But I did do a couple of obvious upgrades like performance bagger, light performance bagger upgrades. We got the saddleman seat. We got the +2 suspension. That is the big thing that I did to this bike. It is actually sitting 2 inches taller in the back, 2 inches taller in the front. The reason why I did that is because we have much more ground clearance. So this way you're not scraping the floorboards, because like I said, I do love taking the twisties, taking turns. So that's the first reason why we did it. It's actually a more comfortable seating position as well on the bike because I am 6 foot 2 inches tall. So having the bike a little bit taller instead of really sitting low, almost like a sled, that's how I feel because of my height. The bike feels just so much better. We also went with a whole bunch of thrashing components, bars, foot controls, floorboards. Got a stage 1 on it with a Bassani exhaust. Got our beautiful DNA chrome specialty wheels and brake rotors. We got some Michelin Commander 3 tires on there. Custom Dynamics front and back LED lighting. I mean, the bike is beautiful, but like I said, it is, I'm going to say, a little sportier than obviously a stock Road Glide because of all the modifications that I did, but it's still not this, right? So when I want to go a little faster, hit the turns a little harder, obviously I'm going to take this out, and obviously this is the bike for my other channel, Cycle Fanatics Sport, This is a 24 BMW S1000RR, over 200 horsepower, very fast bike, absolutely love it. But here's the thing, you can't do really, I mean you can, but do I really want to do any long distance touring on this bike? Simple answer to that is not really. I'd rather take my Road Glide. So that's what I was saying. If you take this bike and my Road Glide and kind of smash them together, that's what you get in the middle. That's what you get. In my eyes, you get the Pan America ST. So yeah, so as you guys can see, you know, I have a 24 Road Glide, which is specifically built for long distance touring, but yet I threw on kind of a light performance, a lot of light performance bagger upgrades to the bike. And then I have my over 200 horsepower BMW S1000RR. I love it. I love it. But this is the thing, that thing in between, right? Where you could say here is the S1000RR sport bike. Here is the Road Glide. What if you kind of combine them two, right? What would you get? Well, that's what you would get. You would get a Pan America ST. I had no idea that this bike was gonna come out. So I'm looking at the website, I'm looking at all the colors of the CVOs, Road Glide CVO ST, looking at all the changes that they made to the Softail models. I was really impressed. But then when I got into the Pan America section, the adventure section, I had no idea. I thought I was only gonna see maybe one or two different colors. That's about it. But lo and behold, boom, there it is in the middle, the Pan America ST. So let's head over actually to the computer, because what I want to do is I want to show you guys the bike, because honestly, I don't want this bike to be overlooked by you guys, because if you guys love sports touring, if you guys love touring in comfort, and you do also love to carve up the twisties, long sweepers, just hit them beautiful, you know, twisty country back roads, this is the bike for you. I'm telling you, I've ridden this bike. This bike is super fast. It comes in about 150 horsepower, 91 foot-pounds of torque. But look at what they did. They just lightened the bike up. They took away a lot of the fairings here in the front. They did a minimal skid plate here in the front. They took away, you have no crash bars, obviously. You have 17-inch front and back wheels, including some Michelin Scorcher Sport tires on it. So you have literally a bike that is going to be able to handle the twisties with this wheel and tire package. I could see it has a more sportier front fender. It just looks so good now. It just looks so much sleeker, so much slimmer. It looks so much sportier. So just to give you guys kind of idea, if you're going to ask me, well, why didn't you just get like a Pan America Special? The problem is I do love adventure riding. I've been taking the kids dirt bike riding. I go with Sandy. I used to go with Sandy a lot, dirt bike riding. We would hit some diamond, some double diamond, enduro trails on our dirt bikes years ago. But the problem is we literally from here, we have to ride several hours to get to those locations. So if I lived in Utah, California, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, I would, without a doubt, 100% have an ADV bike on the channel, because in most of those areas over there, you can literally go out of your house on the bike, and literally a couple miles down the road, you could hit some trails, like hundreds of miles of trails or open areas where you could ride. Problem is, here in northern New Jersey, there is nowhere to ride. I would have to literally go 2+ hours in one direction, either south, west, or north of where we are located, to even just to get to some trails, let alone some really, really rural open land. If I wanted to do that, I would have to go deep into northern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, or Maine to really get into like some dirt roads, some open, really a lot of open trails or some just open fields, but that's just not around. There is open fields around New Jersey, obviously, but it's mostly private land, which you can't go on. So that's the reason why it always held me up to get an adventure bike and to kind of do adventure style riding on this channel. But lo and behold, here comes the Pan America ST. So this only comes in the black trim. Let's see, let's go over the colors. It comes in the billiard gray. It comes in the vivid black for $300 upcharge, or it comes in the brilliant red for a $550 upcharge. Me personally, this is the color that I love, that I would get. And I am seriously contemplating about getting one of these for the channel. If you think that a touring bike is comfortable, I'm telling you now, if you have never ridden a Pan America before, they are super, super comfortable. I'll tell you why. When you're on a Harley touring bike, especially, not to say they are comfortable, super comfortable, and that's what they're built for. But the thing about these bikes is where you have your feet situated in relationship to your spine, they're kind of, your feet are in line with your spine, having those, you know, mid controls, stepped back, kind of more sportier way. Your legs are underneath you, and what they're doing is they're almost like you're utilizing your legs almost like a shock absorber. Any bumps or anything like that, your spine is more kind of erect and straight in the posture it should be. Instead of like if you're having, if you have like a touring bike with like forward controls and your bar's really forward, you know, your feet and your hands are really out there and kind of your spine is like curved like that. Every time you hit a bump, and what I've noticed, because I'm going to be 53 this year, I feel I'm in great shape for my age, but still, you know, you start feeling these things after a while. And when you have your spine in that shape, that's when you could potentially either start having back issues, or you can kind of re-agitate older back issues and kind of make a bigger problem out of it. That's what I've noticed. Also, bar positioning is very important. I've told you guys in the past, if you go too high with your bars, you could start getting some shoulder pains. That's why I typically don't like any bar setup higher than 12 inches right now. That's kind of the super comfort level where I'm at about 12 inches. But if you have never been on a Pan America before, get out to your dealership. Just trust me when I tell you, just go for a ride. Take it for a spin, go for a couple miles, and then come back and tell me what you guys thought. Like I said, you know, the leg positioning, the back positioning, the bars are right there. And not only the ergonomics of the whole bike, but the suspension. You have so much travel. You have the front inverted fork. You have a really good suspension in the back, but there's a lot of travel. It is night and day compared to the touring bikes. And like I said, I love my touring bikes, don't get me wrong. Like, I love my Road Glide, but this is just totally different beast. And so like I wanted to say before is, if you love touring, which I do, and if you love kind of, you know, carving up the twisties, taking the twisties and going on long sweepers and doing that kind of stuff, this is the bike. This is the bike, and Harley makes it. This is the bike that you would want. And I'll go over for a couple reasons what I think this is a great buy. But this is the bike kind of in the middle, sport bike, touring. That bike is in the middle. It takes a lot of the touring aspects, and you could put bags on this bike, and it takes a lot of the sport bike aspects and kind of blends them all together and gives you one perfect machine. So like this bike, I showed you guys the colors, but let's, you could see the wheels and tires. You could see that these wheels and tires are, you know, just specifically meant to carve up the road. You know, me, I mean, wow, look at how that looks. What would I do to it? Honestly, I would take these mirrors off, put a set of bar end mirrors on here, custom dynamic front and rear lights. I would, what else? I would probably go with an aftermarket exhaust, get it dyno tuned and an air intake, just get couple little more horsepower out of it. We'll go with probably like a radiator guard on here. I would definitely do a custom saddleman seat with red stitching. This is definitely the color that I would go with. Yeah, and it would probably accent this red stripe here, also with the 1250 ST logo, some red stitching, red logo on the saddleman, probably step up seat. I would definitely do that. What else would I do? I would probably also maybe go with a higher rise. Let me show you. See the bars? It looks like it might be a high bend bar. I'm not sure, but I would probably go with a higher riser with like either a low bend or a mid bend bar for it to just look and feel a little more sportier. And probably that's probably about it. And this thing is an absolute weapon. It comes in at about 542 pounds. So that's about 24 pounds lighter than the Pan America Special. The CVO is obviously even more heavier because it has some crash bars on it and extra stuff like that. But this is the lightest bike, lightest Pan America, I should say, that you can get. So why do I say it's a great bike? It's a great buy. I'll tell you, because this has 150 horsepower, 91 foot-pounds of torque. Let me put it up to, say, a couple of the other bikes that are in this genre, sports touring genre. So you have the BMW S1000RR. That comes in at about $22,000. It has, I believe, it does have, I think, about 15 more horsepower, but maybe I think it comes in with a little less torque. But this one's $2,000 less. Then you could go with a Ducati Multistrada V4, V4S. They come in at almost $30,000. Yes, it does have 20 more horsepower at around the same amount of torque, but you're talking about $10,000 more. And so I don't know. I haven't ridden one of these. I have ridden the Multistrada. I have not ridden the XR. You could also compare it to, say, like a Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus. Tracer 9 GT Plus has a lot less horsepower, but you get my point. KTM 1290 Duke GT. So same thing, but the Duke GT comes in at more money. So at this price point, guys, this is what I think, honestly, it's a great buy. The bike looks great. You have a awesome platform. You don't have to change anything on this bike. You're good to go. Tear up the canyons or whatever, country roads, twisties. But you know me, this is what we do on the channel. I would take the bike and I would do my upgrades to it. Like I said, some bar end mirrors, exhaust, tune, intake, seat, lighting. Not looking at the bike in person, maybe there's some other things that maybe we could take off to kind of lighten the bike up, either bring up the horsepower a little bit or lighten the bike up. But I just wanted to tell you guys this, like, don't overlook this bike. This bike is pretty cool. I love it. I really love it in this billiard gray with the red and darker gray decals. Oh, I would get right here a little nice tail tidy, because I could picture this without this tail right here, license plate just mounted underneath the rear subframe, and just some turn signals on here, some nice low profile turn signals. This bike, let me tell you, it is good to go. I really like the look. It really looks sporty, especially, I'm telling you, a lot of people already said it. You take the Pan America, you lighten it up a little bit, and all it took was to take those adventure off-road wheels and tires off of it and put on these sport 17-inch front and back wheel and tire package. And I'm telling you, this bike is a sports tour all day. So I really would like to know what you guys think. Like I said, and another thing, it matches the garage, the gray, right? So, so you never know. you may see one in the Cycle Fanatics garage because I could do videos on this channel, or I could do also videos on the Sport Bike channel as well. This thing's got to be a absolute weapon, absolute blast to ride, in comfort. You have some wind protection, speed, touring. Let me show you guys the bike with the bags on it. That's what I forgot to show you guys. So if I were to, let me see. So if I were to get this bike, these are the bags that I would get. It's the sport cases for around $1,600. So check this out. Look at that. I would get the side cases with the top box. So what's cool about this bike is, I'll leave the picture. Let me see. I think it looks really cool like that. So what I really like about this is, if you want to go, and honestly, if I had this bike, I would do several 1,000-mile trips on this bike without a doubt, without a doubt. Harley Davidson actually corporate loaned me a Pan America a couple years ago for about a week. I did, I don't know, about 1,000 miles on the bike. It is no problem. You could be easily 1,000 miles in the saddle on this bike in a day without a problem. But what I do love about this bike, if I do want to go touring, I put on the sport cases, right? I have ample amount of storage. Or if I want it light and unloaded and hit the twisties, I pop these cases off, I put them on the shelf or on a rack, and I'm good to go to hit the twisties. So this bike is kind of like a double-edged sword, if you know what I mean. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Definitely don't overlook this bike, because it is a pretty cool bike. Me personally, I expect a lot of people to buy this bike. Let's see if I'm wrong. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.